Tom, how did it go for you? Because I remember last time we were chatting.
Yeah, man, you were all about that 30%. So I tried it for a bit, but I couldn't take the margin hit. So I had to go buy two items for 30% off. And it
Okay.
didn't go as well as BOGO 50. So maybe there's something about that 50. Because 30% off two items is actually a better deal for the customer, right? But I just think there's something about it. But very similar. But yeah, we gave it a shot and maybe we can do it more next year too. Because it was still pretty good, just not as good.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
For that 5-0, people think that's a big, I mean, that's a big deal, big hit,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? That's like big savings. I love it's kind of like reminds me of like when I worked in retail, like it used to be well, and even sort of like the tiered promotion, right? I think there were a lot of conversations about like people, you buy two, get 10% off, you buy five, you get, the next tier. And, when you're kind of stacking a tier, right, it feels like, you know, you get an additional 5% off. Okay, well, it feels like I'm getting 15%, but in actuality, you're only getting like 12% overall, on the back end. So, um, yeah. So anyways, yeah, numbers, numbers matter, and people love seeing that bigger number. And even if it isn't actually a bigger discount, it feels like it. And so that's probably what the win was.
It was tough too. It was also I tested it in full transparency the week before Black Friday, which is kind of, as you all know, a down week. So I was kind of trying to read, taking that into account. So it wasn't a big difference either way, but slightly. I thought my gut was slightly towards the BOGO 50.
I gotcha. Well, so what overall was, I mean, I guess, right. So this is kind of, first of all, I want to say welcome to everybody and thanks for everybody that can hop on and join. Love that both Tris and my guy, Edwin, are able to join today as well. Our podcast hosts, being able to have them in the group as well. That's fantastic. But Kevin, Courtney, great to see you. I see Jenny Lynn's joined us as well. So happy to have all of you here. Obviously, we want to, we're some of us are probably have clients who are still sort of maybe extending sales yet, but we wanted to kind of hop in, that now that the dust is settled a smidge, to be able to kind of talk through what we feel like what worked, what didn't work, and kind of where we see our clients and brands going forward, and help kind of ideate and help, give some ideas on what to kind of do next before, I guess, shipping cutoff is kind of the next big day before we're all hitting the beach and hopefully relaxing after a strenuous Black Friday, Cyber Monday season. So, or holiday season, I should say. So, Tom, I just want to kind of maybe just start with you because, like, right, I mean, you were already kind of talking about pricing. Like, I guess, what has been a hit for you? And, sounds like maybe the 30% was not as big of a hit this year for you. So,
Yeah, I don't think it's anything too much to report home about. They were pretty close based on just that week I tested, being the week before Black Friday, which is kind of dark, right? So no big takeaways. Black Friday was kind of the same. It was kind of the same as last year, to be perfectly honest, which was actually I was happy with because CPMs were doubled where they were last year, and the ROAS and was the same. So that was good. Um, so I mean, you always want to be even more efficient, right? But I think that given those two big numbers, I was pretty happy with it.
oh, good. What are you kind of leaning towards? So now holiday or this weekend, big sales weekends. Then I mean, are you continuing to do sales through, or are you kind of a little
Yeah, we're
more
going to keep that
as usual?
BOGO 50 on through the shipping cutoff, maybe through mid-December. And then I was actually on the small spenders, Courtney's call yesterday, asking what to do after that, right? Because I want to get back to every purchase being profitable and efficient. So maybe cost caps after that. She said probably wait till buying behavior. Sorry to put you on blast, Courtney, but she was recommending, and very astutely so, that maybe we wait till buying behavior goes back to normal before you go back to the cost caps. Which I was like, okay, that makes sense theoretically. So why not?
Nice. I like that. Courtney, anything to add on that, or?
I mean, I think where we were going as like a lot of people can have success with cost caps, but then I feel like with cost caps, it's like a 50-50. 50% of accounts work really well with them and 50% don't. And there's just so many variables right now. And so with like, it's not just buying intent, it's not just conversion rate, it's also click-through rate, engagement rate, like every number is different. And so it would take with a small account, especially, which is the call that we were on, it would take too much data and too much spend to be able to figure out what cap number is correct for right now to match the numbers. Whereas normally, if everything else stays consistent, you can kind of over time figure out what that sweet spot of the cap is. But right now, I think it would just take too long and too much spend to find what that exact sweet spot number is. So that suggestion, I think, was very specific to our small spenders call. I'm sure there's a lot of big spenders who can make cost caps work right now, and I'm not shitting on them at all. It's just that with small spenders, it's just really hard to be able to find what that sweet spot is and then lean into it and then scale it when everything else is changing so significantly. But would love to hear if anyone else is using cost caps, having success with them, how you're able to find that sweet spot while every variable is so different right now.
But before anyone says they have got it working and shames us all, I have not in a lot of accounts, to be honest. One advice I gave during Black Friday and just before was lowest cost or highest value, and we went with broad interest targeting. So we had like kind of larger interests, put that together, and then mix that with ASC. And that ASC, I think our adoption for ASC went up to like 60%. Over Black Friday, which is terrifying because it's not us buying it, but whatever. But it definitely worked out for us, especially with kind of so we break out ASCs based on like creative type. So there's images, videos, carousels. So we break those out like that, and that's why we're able to scale it so much, because one didn't get more spend than the other. And then also that was on a lot of the bigger spends were on ones that were like had killer offers. So like, you know, we didn't go with a 30% or anything like that, Edwin. We went with but what we did do, I will admit, we went with the equivalent of 30%, and we just stacked it up. We stacked, like, people got a lot more value. The people got that like Black Friday, Cyber Monday didn't work for, they just had terrible offers. And not terrible offers, like not high enough of a give. You know, if you got like to go back to Ellen's point prior to Black Friday, 25% and below, stop, don't waste your time. Like, you're literally just giving away margin, and your CAC is going to be way too high. Even if your return customer rate is going to be terrible. So kind of 30% and above. What we definitely found though was the margin was better, and we got better customer types throughout the year by using the previously mentioned, like, stacking up high. And then on Cyber Monday we flipped over to just straight up discount. And that seemed to work on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Rather than on Black Friday, we're trying to get the right type of people. So there are two different offers.
Speaking of offers, did anybody like have clients who switch things up from, I think most of our accounts pretty much stayed steady from Thursday night through to today or to yesterday for the most part. So like kept their offer of like 25% or whatever that offer was. Did anybody have anybody that like switched up like and did specifically Black Friday and Cyber Monday? Curious to hear if performance shifted. I did see, obviously, as I was scrolling, there was a brand that I kind of followed that did adjust and gave an additional 5%. They moved from like 25 to that 30% on Cyber Monday. Don't know if they continued into yesterday, but curious to hear if anybody had accounts that kind of shifted midway through.
I did technically, but they also did 31-day sales. Like every day of November had a different promo. Not what we recommended. And
Are you
actually,
okay?
huh?
Are you okay? Like
We did.
every
We actually,
fucking day?
yeah. I'm a little tired. I'm a little extra tired for my buyer who was on that account because it's also a low spending account. So we're like, come on, like, and like it did go up year over year, but we didn't manage Black Friday last year, so I'm actually not 100% sure if it's like, the reason why it did better, but it probably just would have been better if they picked one offer and kept it consistent throughout the entire month.
What did
that
you?
was the only client that did that. They did like make their best offers on Black Friday and Cyber Monday as I'm looking through the
Yeah.
Slack channel because I don't manage this account. I just heard a lot of complaints about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did see there was excuse me. There was a larger I get so choked up over ads. I'm telling you, it's like no, so I did see Courtney and I were kind of messaging about this because like we had seen it, but what Dr. Squatch soaps had actually put out a 1-day Black Friday sale, and I was really curious. Yeah, I just thought it was I'm interested to see if anybody will come out and say how it performed or whatnot, because I thought it was really interesting to see that they promoted a 1-day, like specifically Black Friday sale. So that was like the only brand that I'd seen like kind of pushing that urgency as well to kind of come through on Black Friday. So yeah, waiting to see, what industry trade magazines pick up and say how those performed or whatnot. But
Interesting. We went with a gift, one of our brands. Just looking through the creative here. I don't manage them, but I do know they hit an all-time high. They went gift with purchase. I mean, they all-time high, but they counted Cyber Monday in it, so it's kind of cheating. It's like 32 days in
yeah,
November. But like it was considerable. They had already beaten it in November. They went with gift with purchase Black Friday and Saturday, and then into Cyber Monday they went 50% discount on some products. So it was
Yeah.
not just site wide. That's just an absolute lunacy. But so they did shift it, and they had a huge sale. Like it was absolutely like it worked. Which is great. Now, obviously, expert media buying, but like whatever. It was the offer there seemed to work really well, so that's really good.
You put out there that they pulled Monday into November. Anybody else feel like until maybe yesterday that it was still November? Like I totally forgot that like the first of the month rolled over onto the weekend. I was just like so in my account, like somebody was like, "Yeah, happy December." I was like, "Nah." Oh yeah, okay, you're right. We are in December all of a sudden.
I got hit with the I'll see you next month. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, December. Oh yeah, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All of a sudden the first of the month bills hit. I was like, wait, what? No. So
Crazy.
obviously we kind of talked about offer a little bit. It sounds like, offers were fairly similar, unique. What about account structures? What are you guys feeling like worked well for your accounts? I know in one of ours, I guess I'll start. I found that rather than going ASC for so we had evergreen ASCs like stacked, but specifically for our Black Friday, Cyber Monday offer, I actually chose to kind of stack as a classic CBO that had a mix of obviously top funnel audiences and mid funnel, bottom funnel stuff, and no cost caps or anything like that, but just pushed it with, just started with like a 5K budget, and then actually pushed it up, just continued to add 1,000 or adjust it up. And continue to, I don't know, I felt like that actually performed really well over dropping it into an ASC and kind of just letting it be its own ASC in that time frame. Anybody else do similar or kind of run other structures through the holiday?
Our main strategy wasn't structure, it was rapid reallocation. So we actually built our own we called the reallocation calculator. It just literally showed all the campaigns, the ROAS, and the budget, and whatever was getting the highest ROAS. Like all of our account managers were instructed to be ruthless and take budget from the lowest performers, slam it into the top performers, and just be like ruthless about it, and then move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And so our focus, the biggest surprise of that exercise was that our allocation towards my expectation was that our allocation towards evergreen would be higher. Like I was expecting a 70% allocation. and it turned out that the performance on like sale, like I'm on sale ads, was surprisingly good. And so we actually tuned it closer to like 40-50%. I thought we were going to end up tuning it down to like 30 and 20%, but like sale ads performed surprisingly well.
Yeah, I'd agree with, so I didn't go whole account, but in the CBO, that's exactly what I did. The reason I broke it out so I could have those greater audiences so we could cut things that weren't working. But I think makes total sense to like be really stringent. Like if that ROAS was not performing, cut that, move it up. And so, and that was, yeah, basically the approach for the CBO. I would say to that effect, I agree. Some accounts definitely did see more performance on the offer ads this year over evergreen. And like we have an account that has a hero product that, or I would say a unicorn product, essentially. They just like launched it this summer, and it's a piece of jewelry, and it's just like gone gangbusters. And then all of a sudden we thought for sure that was going to continue performing, and it did, but like absolutely, like the ROAS and all the bigger lion's share of spend ended up going to like those specific Black Friday, Cyber Monday ads and those deal ads. And so we saw a complete dip in those evergreen ads, which was quite surprising for us. I thought for sure that was just going to be the hit, but
Same exact thing happened for me. It was Black Friday ads that killed this year, which was not generally what happens in Black Friday for us.
Yeah.
And ugly ones. Like I made one in Canva. I whipped it up 2 days before, and I'm not lying. It's the ugliest thing I've ever made. I even fucked it up. So it had a spelling error, and it killed.
those are the best ones. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know if it's something about like, just because the typos or like the clunkiness of them just like draw your eye to it more.
Maybe I'm in the car. That's why my camera wasn't on. I
Yeah,
was driving. Not now.
Are we rolling through
I
the
have a question
Starbucks
for
review today?
everybody. No, I'm
Wait,
about to go to my
do-
kid's school for Secret Shop. I've been packing orders all week. You know, I'm tweeting live from everywhere I am. I was packing orders.
Do you have
calls
tea?
over.
Do you have tea in that cup, or is that Dunkin' Donuts in the cup?
Water. I'm staying hydrated. You think I stay? I gotta stay youthful looking, boys. Listen, my question is, so this is my first year running cost caps for Black Friday, which I have mixed reviews about. We had a great Black Friday. We are up like 60% over last year. But I also spent a fuck ton more. So I don't normally spend a lot into Black Friday. So it was my first time doing that, and it went really well. Everything was fine. But like cost caps adjusting post Black Friday, like I've noticed people still have their sales running. We're not one of those people. We turn it off on Tuesday. And yesterday and today have been shit shows, like not good. Like my CPMs are insane. My budget got blown through up above whatever percentage that Facebook wanted to take, because they're allowed to do that now, at like horrible efficiency yesterday. And I'm just like waiting for it to happen again today. Like, when will the cost caps go back to normal? Is that happening with everybody else? And like, how long? I thought for sure it wouldn't happen because we only have a week, 10 days till the USPS shut off. So like, are you guys getting that? Are you having like weird whiplash yesterday, today? And how long should I expect that? Because I looked last year and my shit, I didn't spend as much at the Black Friday, but my post Black Friday days weren't as bad as yesterday was. Yesterday was bad, and today's not great. So
I was
that's my
going to
question.
ask you, what were you expecting when you're against other people who still have their sales live when you turned yours off?
Well, we didn't have our sale live the whole month before either. Like we only do it those 5 days, but I've
Yeah.
always done it that way, and I've never had as low of efficiency as I did yesterday. And I don't know if it's the result of the cost cap. It being like, oh, well, we get 7 days to balance out that average. So like, we're going to spend really inefficiently for the next couple, or if it's just across the board, like I took my sale off. And so now I should expect shit.
Yeah, I guess the real reason I'm asking the question is because I guess whatever about your competitiveness with everybody else, like you're thinking about your warming up your customer is seeing all these ads, they're seeing your site, they're going, oh, grand, we'll blow through the sale. You turn it off, you got to find new customers. You got to find new people to come in. Your CAC is going to be terrible because anyone who was going to buy has bought, and then the people you're trying to warm up is only seeing the brand now, but they're seeing a shitload of sales stuff as well. So you're going to go and
Right.
think about the buying journey. So someone finds the tea and they go, oh, this is nice, this is cool. They're not on sale. Maybe they'll do a sale in a couple of days' time or whatever, getting back to work. Whereas it's like, okay, there's a sale on now, I need to buy. There's no urgency. I don't know if you're doing another sale. That's just on a macro level.
We are on Monday. We're going back to buy 3, get 1 free. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's especially worse this year. Is anybody else seeing that? No, it's just me. I mean, it's only been yesterday and it's part of this.
Yeah.
So it's not like I can't really make any like vast assumptions about how this is going to go. But like, I was expecting it to be good because we only have 10 days left till fucking Christmas cutoff.
And what other ads do you have in there? Is it just your cost caps that are blowing through? Are the other campaigns doing okay?
So I have one that's not on cost cap, but everything else is on cost cap, and everything's doing not great.
Okay.
Like, I think my last year I never went below a 2 return in my account ever for all of November or December. And then yesterday it was at like a 1.1. Like, it was bad. It was like car crash bad. Well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't spend as much. Like, I cut my spend by a ton, but it's still like overspent at a terrible efficiency. And I'm just like, should I put what are you guys doing? Is everybody's sales still going on? Are you all still actively on sale? Really? What about you other guys? Is everybody else still on sale?
So we've got accounts that have shifted off, like that have ended. I will agree today is down. I did a quick grab through accounts like this morning right before this call, and I only had a chance to look at like for the month. I didn't get a chance to like dive into this like today specifically because we turned like the sales ended yesterday. So but yes, things are definitely down. I guess from a ROAS attribution point, we're like a 0.5% down right now, which I'm guessing is going to continue to dive a bit. Partially, right? I mean, I think to the things that Tris is saying, but if you've been running a sale for essentially 5-6 days, right? I mean, the algorithm is sort of like adopted to like and adjusted to like those real deal grabbers, right? And like has found those people who are like scooping up like the great deal you have. And so now that you don't have them, it's still sort of driving some of those folks there. And so, right. And everybody sort of knows like they can continue. Somebody's probably got a deal out there still. So
are you telling people keep your sale running, or are you telling them it'll ebb off in a couple days, it'll go back to normal in a couple days? Like, what's your advice to your clients?
Yeah. So what we have, so I'll use this as an example. And actually I was going to bring this up a little bit later in the call, but I think now is a perfect time, right? So we had a client who's they ran 25%, all this. They have a traditional, like their ongoing thing is like 15% off for existing customers. And so they have not been running that messaging, right? We stopped running that messaging leading up to like all of November, midway point of October, we stopped running that messaging. And so my advice for them has actually been to shift into that as like a catch-all, right? So people seeing that they missed the 25% off still have an opportunity now to grab 15%, but it doesn't feel like, oh, hey, we're just like, here's another sale. It's just like positioned as, hey, you know what? You're a first-time customer. Come grab 15% off. And so that's that. And I think that might be why they haven't completely fallen off of a cliff yet today. I got to dive into it a little bit more, but that would sort of be my advice, or at least building up some sort of thing leading towards shipping cutoff, right? We have another brand that's going and doing is going to do starting later this week. They're getting the creative together for it, but they're going to do a stacked. They don't offer free shipping, so they're going to be doing a stacked, like when you buy 2 get free shipping, and kind of doing that messaging and timing it to be like 10 days before last day to get it in time for Christmas. And so that's the angle they're going as well. So I think yes, probably some level of deal or offer or messaging that's really maybe not necessarily shifting away from regular discounts or deals that you regularly have, but just sort of positioning them in a way that, you know, makes it feel a little advantageous for new people.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't realize that many people kept their deal running all of December. Like, there's a lot of shit talk, like, oh, people don't need this deal. Oh, Cyber Monday extended, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, that's so annoying. And then everyone that shit talks it does it. I'm like, how are you all? Every like company that I looked up today that I'm like, how are other people handling this? I had never really thought about it before. And a lot of people are still on sale. Like, and I guess will be all of November and all of December. I'm just like, how do you do that? It's just, I didn't think or plan for it.
I think it's a big, you know, I think it's, if I were kind of reading the room of the market, I think it's the big box stores that have kind of like, because they've shifted from like, you know, this, you know, being open on Thanksgiving. Most of them have kind of shifted away from being open on Thanksgiving now, but they've just decided since all these e-commerce brands are going early, we're just going to run deals all month long.
It's really annoying. We have created our own worst nightmare. I have to run, but I just wanted to come on and ask you guys that question. Okay. If anybody sees anything crazy, just message me. All right. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Good seeing you.
Bye, guys.
Andrew Foxwell coming to the party. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Yeah. Just checking in on everybody, seeing how it's going. Always an honor to be on with Jenny Lynn. I like that I was on the call for 30 seconds and she swore like twice. So that's my favorite part of that. Yeah, I mean, I'm just, you know, checking in, see what people are talking about, how it's going. You know, obviously a lot of reporting and everything else that's happening right now. So it's like just kind of rounding up numbers, really. I feel like that's where a lot of us are at. And I just got an insane email insanely nice that I'm forwarding to you, Courtney, about you. So
hey.
Lovely. Well, what is your thought around one of the things that Jenny Lynn was asking there is just about having your offer live for the rest of Black Friday, like there or like from now until the shipping cutoff in 10 days, I think it is.
Yeah.
Like that's 10 days more of sales. Like she was saying her margins are being hit and cost cap just in her words, I think got shit. So what are you thinking? Like what do people normally do, in your opinion, from Black Friday to shipping cutoff? Do they go off sale and go back on?
I mean, I think people do it differently. Personally, like to me, you know, Courtney is the one that actually inspired me, and like about the way that we think about this is like right now it's all about making it giftable, making it be something, bundles, easy, talking about shipping, like when it's going to be there. And doing it. I think if you know, obviously some brands don't have the capacity or the willingness to be able to like bundle or update messaging, right? Like that's a burdensome thing for a lot of people. But, you know, if there's anything that you can do in terms of showing it as a gift, in terms of showing it as a bundle, in terms of putting things together as a bundle, in terms of like telling you when it will arrive and like giving the dates, the more specific that you can do about that kind of thing, the better off it's going to be. Because, you know, Courtney posted something yesterday that was like, there's the 3 stages to Christmas gift buying. It's like, I'm ahead. And it's like, I'm great. And then there's phase 3, which is, oh shit. And so I think people are entering that phase, phase 3. And so that's really, you know, designing those offers, like honestly, in the way we did, like last year, we switched it like a bundle and basically made it like called it the holiday bundle for a particular product. And that ended up selling really well. I don't think we would have sold through that. I just talking to a brand this morning, and they're a massive D2C brand. And what they're going to do is essentially have a selection of 20 products, and then people can choose any 5 and it's one price. So I thought that was interesting. It's just like that kind of stuff that you know, that people are up to. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, Tris. Those are just like my general thoughts about it that I've seen people be successful before.
I was just
Can I
looking there.
slide? Wait, Tris, can I slide? Can I slide one in? Right. I'm about to jump off. I'm sorry, Tris. Can I get a gut check on how people's Black Friday went compared to last year? So like to give like we ran numbers and our median MER sat at 6.03, and our median ROAS sat at 3.41. Our averages were higher because of the extremes, but I'm pulling median numbers. But like, truth be told, like our reported ROAS are higher this year, but our MERS are like a touch lower. Like I think last year's MERS were like closer to like seven-ish. And so can I just get like a temperature in the room? Like, was this year's better than last year's, or like just across?
What time frame are you looking at that specifically, Edwin?
I'm the entire sale period.
From Thursday night to Monday, Tuesday?
From like when you said we're on sale to like Monday.
I'd be interested, Tom, in how yours did, because I know you've changed your, not to shut you out, but I know you changed your offer and stuff. It'd be interesting to see how your MER did.
I'm sorry, Tris, you asked me?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did your MER, how did your efficiency
Just for the day, Black Friday?
Over the time period that you were on sale?
Oh, well, we're still on sale right now. So Jenny Lynn's going to get mad at me, but we're one of those.
How is
Where is
it
it sitting?
Has the efficiency gotten better over the time?
No, it stayed about the same, to be perfectly honest. We're up about 50% in MER during this time period. We don't really see a huge spike. We're not as giftable, I guess, or maybe we haven't done it well. But that's kind of been consistent in our last 3 Black Fridays. It's not a huge spike for us in terms of MER.
Wow.
We actually front loaded quite a bit of our email, which helps MER quite a bit. So we front loaded that into the first 3 weeks of November for like existing customers, repeat customers. So it actually dried up the well as we kind of got to Black Friday a little bit on the email side, which kind of hurt overall MER, if that helps answer. But overall MER is probably up 50% over that stretch as to where the business typically is.
Yeah. What about you, Shane? How's your stuff gone?
Yeah, so looking at, I just actually did a quick grab. I don't have Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend broken out for clients, but just a quick, I just happen to have the tracker that we do like month over month, and looking at last year over this year. This year is down 10% in MER and about 7% in ROAS. But noticeably 100%, like CPMs went from $15 last year to $30 this year for this account. So so I think that probably has a big impact on how overall performance went, just because it cost twice as much. Now I will say, like, just this client alone, like they actually had their largest and best Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend in their history. So so numbers wise, so I mean overall, most money made over that period of time for them, but yeah, percentages wise break down a little less than, and they spent an additional $20K over what they did last year as well. So
which niche is this client?
They're in the gifting space, so like it makes sense. Like they're a gifting brand specifically, so they have a variety of products, but more female. I'd say 35 plus audience. Love to give gifts, and so they got like really lots of pretty stuff, is what I'll say.
Kevin and Courtney, what are you guys seeing across your systems, like across all your accounts?
Mine, I think, were really just like dependent upon the brand. I didn't have like everyone was up or everyone was down. For my smaller brands that generally don't run sales or don't really run good sales, if like their normal sale is like a 15% off for Mother's Day or something, they ran like a 30% off this weekend and they did really well. I feel like I had one brand did really well. Small spender, we spent maybe like 3K over the weekend. So super small spender, but they did great. I think we ended at like a 5.9x ROAS, which was like very, very indicative of Mur as well, because they only really advertise on Meta. So that was really great. And they were like, we're good with these numbers. And I was like, yeah, you better be, because it's a 5.9x. I would think that you're good with those numbers. I had 2 other small brands also spent about 3K over the weekend. They had a tiered sale. So it was 10% over everything, 15% over 100, and 20% over $200 in spend. They did okay, better than normal, better than average, better than last year, but pretty good. They ended at like a 3x, I think, on both of them. I have one bigger brand that I took over this year. They don't advertise throughout the year. They only advertise during Q4, which is obviously not a best practice, but I'm trying to get them to advertise throughout the year next year. For them, Black Friday was okay, not super great. We spent I think 55K on Friday, but we just didn't have enough data. Like, we had been kind of building the foundation, building up all throughout October and November, but just didn't have, like, still that's just not enough data. Like, I've had accounts where I could spend 100K in a day and it was like so easy because we just had so much data. Like, that one was like pulling teeth trying to get it to spend that much. So they had a better Cyber Monday because we had so much data from the weekend. We spent 55K on Friday and then like 30 to 35K on Saturday, Sunday. And then we were able to spend like 60K on Monday, same sale. And so that they actually did well. And I think that the data really helped them because the algorithm was like, oh, hey, we have, thousands of purchases in the last 4 days that we can optimize off of. Whereas they hadn't had, 1,000 purchases since, like, it took them 6 months to get that prior to Black Friday. So I feel like it was just very, very dependent upon the brand. I don't think that consumers were just like, I'm going to buy everything on Black Friday weekend. They were much more careful with how good is the sale? Is this legit? I saw a lot on social media of people comparing, like, especially on Amazon, showing that, oh, look, it says it's 40% off. But if you look at like the past data, it actually, they raised their price and then was 40% off, which was actually like the same as the regular price. And so I think a lot of people are becoming more skeptical of how good the sales actually are and if brands are like lying to them. So I feel like a lot of people are just much more careful and they're doing, it seems like, a lot more research. They're not just impulse buying. So I think this year, what I've been trying to explain to clients is just there's just been so much more like macro and like human factors this year that are intangible, that aren't data metrics. And so it sounds like an excuse to give to clients, but it's really just, I think just consumers are changing and they're not just like taking your word for it. Oh, 30% off, that must be true. But they're like, oh, well, I've been looking at this for 3 months and your 30% off price is actually more expensive than the actual price that it was, 4 months ago. So I would just say it's not one size fits all of how things went. Very brand dependent and industry and niche dependent.
Evan, what
Yeah.
were you saying?
So I'm still working on like the agency-wide report. But what I can say right now is that I do know about 90% of agency accounts scaled more year over year. And the 10% that did not either stayed the same or there was a very good reason why they didn't. Like last year they were doing a site-wide sale and this year they went with gift with purchase. Just totally different type of economics. As far as the MER though, I would need to get back to you. But I did have like one client, start the day at a 10K budget. That's what they cleared us for. And then middle of the day, they're like, I think you can spend 50K. So they must have been pretty happy. We got
Great.
to 41. We were pretty close.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good showing, I would say.
It was stressful. We have to, we said that proration, you really have to over budget to hit that.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
Get at it.
Great. Thanks, Edwin. Thanks for joining us.
Can I ask a question, guys, really quickly? When we come out of the sale period, so maybe cut off, do you guys launch new campaigns to get fresh data? Because the campaigns you have been running over the sale period have data that is skewed a little bit more towards sale people? Or do you just kind of roll? It's like it's got a lot of data. It'll adjust itself over a couple of days. Just let the old campaigns and old ads, or do you like refresh?
I've been
things?
refreshing. So I launched some new campaigns yesterday and today, depending on when the sale ended. And also like I had one ASC that had been really cruising since like October in one account, and it just absolutely plummeted yesterday, just completely was like a 0.2. And it had been, I mean, it's spent probably 30 grand profitably at like a 1.8, 1.9, and their goal is about a 1.6. So I rebuilt that. So my plan is to turn that ASC that just completely fell off, turn it off for like 7 days and then turn it back on, because I think it does have good data, but right now the data is just so skewed to sale lookers. Because it was just an evergreen campaign that I left on during Black Friday. So
Yeah.
I think it's not necessarily a one size fits all answer, but if you see it start falling off, it's probably because it's looking for the people that have purchased in the last 7 days. So I'm going to turn it off. I rebuilt one specifically for holiday gifting, like shipping cutoff, like hurry, you still have time type stuff. So like very right now, and seeing how that one goes, even though that creative is all new. But like really pushing that urgency, and that campaign will kind of take its place for the next 7 days or so. And then my plan is to turn that original one back on once hopefully it's kind of like reset data a little, but would love to hear what anyone else is doing as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, we're letting it roll. Interested. Like, it makes sense. That makes a ton of sense what you're saying. But I think certainly with the products, a lot of people were saying earlier on the call that their creative was hitting the Black Friday creative was hitting. We saw the same. No, where the non-Black Friday hits better, which is interesting. It's interesting because we're doing it slightly different, but it seems like we're getting similar kind of results. It sounds like currently that kind of that strategy works out for coming into Christmas or holidays. It's interesting. What about you, Shane? Do you see anything different, or even Kevin?
I also just have a lot of new campaigns, but there's just a lot of new stuff. Like clients, if they're not continuing their sale, they usually find a reason to have another sale, whether it's like 12 days of Christmas. So there are a lot of like National X days this month. Like I used to run a bunch of cookies accounts, and there's National Cookie Day, that's today. There's National Candle Day, that's in a few days. There's also Green Monday, which my record for daily spend actually on a Green Monday, like 5 years ago. So all of those are just requiring new campaigns. Because I like to, if at best they're going to be temporary, I like to keep those on the side. If they smash, I'll graduate or move things into my evergreen campaigns temporarily. But yeah, since most of them are temporary at best, I'll launch them on the side.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of our approach with any sort of limited stuff, kind of launching on the side. I very rarely am I like layering those things anymore into like ASCs that have already been working, because I just feel like the creatives that are working in those already are going to be taking most of the spend anyways, unless I'm shifting those on and off. And so for the shorter limited stuff, yeah, we're continuing to like do new. I think we've got, I mean, as far as coming down the pipeline and like what we're shifting into, we pretty much shifted all back into our evergreen stuff. Obviously, we've got a handful of clients that have their, holiday messaging now. And so it's kind of like, more, less offer, more position of they're the perfect place to buy, or, what the benefit of, or kind of features of having, their product under the Christmas tree or for the holidays, whatever is kind of what we're shifting into now. And I launched a bunch of stuff between today and tomorrow. I'll be launching more of that stuff. We do have client that's gonna like do like a 12 days of Christmas thing come in, which is gonna be an everyday thing. But I've just decided that I'm just stacking the creatives, and I'm just gonna like turn on, turn off, and just kind of keep. I'll do that as an ASC in its own and just let it run.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm never excited about, like, this client does that like every year, and I'm never excited about it, because it's like I get the feel of like, and I know a lot of brands do this, and I get the feel of it, and it does sort of work out for them to like, it kind of allows them to clean out specific inventory pieces, is what I feel like it is more, but it just never feels like it gets the breath that like it needs on social these days to like actually take off, or once it starts taking off, well, that deal's done already. So I can't really ever, I can't really ever scale it, so to speak.
Yeah. You're
And
not like
then-
Kevin's media buyer that did one a day then.
Yeah,
Every day.
don't know anybody in here that's had to go through that at all, but yeah.
Great. Did you actually, sorry, just a question to the two of you on that specifically, because so we've had clients request that before, and we're like, don't bother, just stop. And they listened. Luckily, this sounds like you guys they just didn't listen, unfortunately. But what I was going to ask is, did you guys see any benefits of any description? Like, did something kind of like happen that worked to kind of, that offer worked really well for a day, so you figured, okay, we'll do that in the future? Is there sort of learnings from it? Like, did any benefits come from launching all those sales all those days?
I think it it can actually do really, really well. I think what held it back was that it wasn't a complimentary offer. So they should have had like a main offer that lasted all month, and then if they wanted to do like daily sales, like as Shane says, it's great for inventory clearing, things like that. Then yeah, I'm totally fine running like 30 to 1 day sales. It's a lot of work, but I can't really say it's not good for performance. The main thing was just that all that constant change didn't really allow any momentum to build up at any point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. And so
That's a
Shane,
great call out. Actually, I think that's actually really smart to actually have a main, find 20% off all month or free gift with purchase, and then being able to like highlight, hey, today's deal is, 30% off mittens or whatever. Yeah.
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 Because they've even done 6 hour sales. This was like years ago. Like 6 hour sales, and I'm not gonna lie, they did do really well. Like when you can say and copy 6 hours only,
Yeah.
it just does great. But there's just other types of things you need to consider in this period, and momentum and history, I think, is big. Otherwise, you can really see CPMs be higher than they should be.
Yeah. I think, Tris, to your point, like wanting to know like data or stats, I think the one thing from an advertising standpoint that I guess maybe I'll be able to look into a little bit more, years past, I've typically pushed them to like just post organically, and then we've just boosted those posts essentially. Because I feel like that's where the most engagement may happen for those kind of single day deals. This year, like I said, I'm doing an ASC and just going to stack them all and like turn them on, turn them off. So I guess from a statistical standpoint, I'll be able to look at that data this year over last year and see if boosting actually performed better over unique ads running for a day.
Sure, for sure. Be very interesting to see that. I'll check in with you next year and find out.
Yeah, literally next year.
My God. I'm
So,
gonna need to jump, guys, but listen, it's been a pleasure. Thanks a mil.
yeah,
Folks.
appreciate it. Thanks, Tris. Yeah, actually, I mean, I did only grab 45 minutes for this call, so obviously you want to be mindful of everybody's time. But are there any sort of last questions, comments, or thoughts on how things have been performing for you guys that you want to share at this time? All right. Well, with that, it's been wonderful having you guys here. Thanks for joining us, and we'll get the replay up and rock and roll. So Godspeed to all of you. We're halfway through, and I guess 10 to 12 more days, and hopefully we'll all be sipping on eggnog and having a happy new year.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right. Chat soon.
Thank you, guys. Bye.